Once it happened, a surgeon, a field marshal or a general and a politician met in the coffee shop of a golf club. All of them retired. So the surgeon doesn't have his scalpel, the general doesn't have his guns, the politician doesn't have his power or his people. So they were just talking. And the surgeon said, of all the professions in the world, my profession of being a surgeon is the oldest profession. The other two asked, how so? So he said, you know, before this Adam and Eve, it was just Adam. And Adam's one rib was taken out, from that rib, Eve was made. Who else but a great surgeon can do that? So, it is the oldest profession. The general said, no, you're missing a point. Before even Adam came, do you remember it says that there was chaos and order was brought. Who else but a good soldier can bring order to such a situation? Soldier's job was the first thing in this creation. The politician chuckled and said, all that is fine, but who created the chaos? So, managing chaos, just enough so that your system doesn't get too orderly and the prison doesn't become too strong that it can't be broken, it can only be done by somebody who is not in the prison. One who is in the prison cannot do that. If he creates chaos, he will create totally destructive chaos. Only somebody who is not sentenced can create such a thing. It's because of this, traditions always insisted on a live guru, and where the situations were conducive, these gurus demanded total surrender. Where it was not, they talked elaborate philosophies. Krishna very unabashedly said, you have to surrender to me, there is no other way. He never feared. It never occurred to him that somebody may think he seems to be too egoistic. Saying that, I'm everything, you must surrender to me, is a very dangerous statement in today's world. But he never felt like that. He lived in a situation where he could simply say, I'm everything, you must surrender to me, there is no other way. In recent times, we have not had such freedom to say such things. You have to weave it around and weave it around and weave it around and weave it around before you ever bring people to such a state. Here in this culture, people have been trained to surrender. Right from their childhood, wherever you take your children are told, first thing is bow down. Anybody elderly, you see, first bow down, touch their feet. This is because the whole culture, the whole nation at one time lived with a single-minded purpose of ultimate liberation. The whole population in this land, in this part of the world, was completely dedicated to ultimate liberation. Mukti was the only goal in their life. Because of that, the culture trained people right from their childhood that don't make too much out of yourself, just bow down to everything that you see. Like this, many devices were built so that surrender becomes natural. But we got English educated. It became very difficult to bow down, very difficult. Because in the West, it was always taught to people, never bow down to anybody. You stand up straight, never bow down, because bowing down was seen as a weakness. Surrender is unthinkable. The most horrible thing that you can do is surrender. They never realize the beauty of surrender. So, from falling in love, now they have twisted themselves out to making love. Falling became a negative thing, bowing down became a negative thing, surrender became a negative thing. By doing this, humanity has surrendered the most beautiful aspect within themselves. They have surrendered the beauty of life to gross ego. Ego is worshipped. So, the very idea of somebody, that you need somebody to come out of your limitations is unacceptable. With that, it may take a long time to even know that there is a possibility. To even realize that there is a possibility beyond the way you exist right now, it will take an extremely long time if one celebrates their ego as strength. If one does not understand the limitations of his existence, if one believes oneself to be everything, or unwilling to be helped because it's considered weakness, then even to realize there is a possibility will take a very long time. If a different type of sense, if another sense, which is not five senses, has to arise within you, first of all, you must understand the limitations of the five senses. Once it happened that a young wife was sharing with her friend, "It looks like my husband has sixth sense." Her friend asked, "How so? How do you know this?" Because she said, "It's obvious, he doesn't have the five. So he must have sixth sense, you know." If a dimension beyond the physical, right now if you sit here, simply just the presence of what is here, suddenly something beyond the physical is struggling to go beyond the physical. That makes some people noisy, some people very mobile, some people like mopping machines on the floor, different expressions. But essentially what's happening is something beyond the physical doesn't like the physical limitations. But even for this to happen, I want you to understand, it has happened with outside help. Otherwise, this life would have gone on without ever knowing anything like that, just ideas and stories. Ideas and stories are not transformation. It just creates a dream. A dream is more real than reality in experience. If you have a nightmare, suppose you were sleeping, you're fast asleep and dreaming, you thought the elephant has come into your bedroom, you got terrified and out of that fear you woke up and there is no elephant. Even though there is no elephant, you will still sweat, you will palpitate, you will go through everything as if something happened. The moment you woke up, you know it was just a dream, but still you fear. So, when we say a dream, don't take it lightly. A dream is more impactful than reality for most people. So, the trap of a dream is not a simple trap. It's a very powerful trap, self-created, especially because it's self-created. You have no means to break it, because what you have created, there is a certain sense of attachment and liking to it. You can't break it. Have you seen at different stages in your life, some silly little things which are in your drawer, you know it's no use, but you can't throw it away? Even if it's causing some trouble, you can't throw it away because it's been there for so long. There is a certain sense of attachment to it. So what you create, it's very hard to break it. It takes clarity of perception or it needs outside help. Otherwise, it could take a very long time. Long time, when I say I'm not talking in terms of years, it could take a very long time. Allowing outside help, asking for outside help, or even if it comes unasked, allowing outside help, needs a certain gracefulness, needs a certain humility, otherwise you can't allow outside help. Lots of people cannot receive something gracefully. And always the social ethics have taught you giving is important, taking is not important. Yes, taking is not important, taking is ugly, but receiving is very important. If you do not understand that you… anyway, everything that's worthwhile in your life, you're actually receiving. I want you to just look at any aspect of it. Right now, the clothes that you wear. For this cloth to sit here right now, here, do you know how many things and how many people are involved in delivering this here? Somebody planted a cotton seed, that plant growing up, 1,000,000 organisms were involved in making this plant grow up, and then the cotton, you know the whole process in Tamil Nadu, from ginning to weaving to spinning to weaving to everything. How many people? And then the cloth, and then the maker and the seller and the agent and everybody else. And now here it's sitting here. How many thousand people are involved in just this cloth sitting on your body right now? The food that you ate, for it to get into your system, how many people and how many different lives have participated in making this happen? None of these things you could do all by yourself, isn't it? If you understand this and if you receive this gracefully, you will be overwhelmed with gratitude. If gratitude becomes your very life breath, you will also become very receptive. When you're grateful, you're very receptive. You can only be not gratitude as a certain… people have always told you 3 magic words, one of them is thank you, not a cultivated gratitude. Gratitude happens to you when you're overwhelmed by something or somebody. Suppose you were very hungry, very hungry, you thought you were going to die. Somebody just gave you a piece of bread. Now tears of gratitude will come to you. That same piece of bread, if they gave you a loaf some other time when you're well, it wouldn't have meant anything to you. But at that moment, that piece of bread, when you look at that person who gave that piece of bread to you, enormous gratitude, because you're overwhelmed by the experience. With every aspect of your life, if you recognize how much is involved to make a single aspect of your life happen, a piece of cloth or a piece of bread, a morsel of food, what it takes for it to be created and to land on your plate and get into your body, if you just see from microorganisms to human beings, how many lives are participating in making things happen for you every moment of your life. If you are conscious of it, if you peel your eyes and look at it properly, you are overwhelmed with gratitude, because you could never do this by yourself. Never do this by yourself. If you're overwhelmed with gratitude, you're in an extremely good state of receptivity. Gratitude is also a state of surrender. Please say this. When you're grateful, you very naturally bow down. Nobody has to tell you. I don't know if you have noticed this. Even if somebody does not belong to Eastern cultures, where bowing down is not at all a part of their culture, but when they're grateful, they will stand little bent. Have you noticed this? They won't stand like this when they're full of gratitude. When they're grateful, they naturally… there is a need to bow down. Being overwhelmed with gratitude and surrender are not different. Instead of surrender, we could talk the language of gratitude, because it still accommodates your ego a little bit. Surrender's too… it's too pure, too much pure, in that there is no room for any of your nonsense. In gratitude, you can still be there a little bit. If gratitude happens as step one, surrender will naturally follow.